G'day, welcome to my TestFlix talk. Thanks to the Test Tribe community for the opportunity to be part of their new event. It's always good to see a new testing event. I'm coming to you today from the beautiful Bellarine Peninsula, which is just out of Melbourne in Australia. I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land from which I'm presenting this talk today. That is the Wathaurong people of the Wathaurong Nation, and I pay my respects to their elders, past and present. So today I'm going to be talking about testing is still not dead. We have a very brief amount of time together today. So I'm going to talk about why I think testing is still not dead. You may well have heard that testing is dead. So what do I think about that? Then I'll look at, what is testing anyway? What do I believe testing really is? We'll look at where automation fits into this whole testing picture as well. All right, so just got 8 minutes, so let's get into it. So I've been in the testing industry in one way and another for about the last 20 years. And it feels like ever since I started in the industry, I've been hearing this testing is dead story, or testing is dying, or testing is about to die, really for as long as I've been in this industry. And it always seems to stem from some new thing that's going to make testing go away. That might be Agile or DevOps or any one of the things that's listed on the slide here seem to be used as motivations for saying that testing is dead. This situation is given some credibility, I think, by some of the larger tech firms claiming that they don't employ testers anymore. You might hear this coming out of some of the big companies. And I suspect by the end of this talk, there will be some other reason why someone is claiming that testing is dead again. And for me, I think this idea stems from a fundamental misunderstanding of what testing really is. So let's have a look at what I think testing really is. So my preferred definition is at the top of the slide here. It comes from James Bark and Michael Bolton, both of whom are presenting talks at this TestFlix event. I would strongly recommend that you check out their talks. They'll probably be much better than mine. And they say that testing is the process of evaluating a product by learning about it through experiencing, exploring, and experimenting, which includes to some degree questioning, study, modeling, observation, inference, etc. I really like this definition because it encapsulates what testing means to me. It highlights the fact that testing is an activity, right? It's something we do. It's not a phase of a development life cycle or some specific person's responsibility. It's something we do in the process of building software. And sometimes I think it's worth emphasizing that we should think about testing rather than this idea of a tester, because then it highlights the fact that it's an activity. It's not one person's job. It's just something we do as a natural part of building software. This definition also makes it clear that this is an open-ended process. That we could continue evaluating and experimenting and learning the product. We could continue to do that. So this is not something that comes to an end. And it also makes it clear that this is a deeply human activity. All these things we talk about here are things that humans are very well suited to doing, and machines are not. We'll come to that in a bit. This also means that it's a lot of what we do in testing really is learning about the thing that we've built to see if it's the thing we wanted to build. So we're building some information about the thing that we've actually built rather than some idea about what we thought we were going to build. It should be acknowledged that technology changes all the time, development practices come and go, methodologies come and go, and these changes are all likely to influence the way that we do testing, but I don't believe they make the need for testing to go away. Right? We're still going to want to test according to this definition, no matter what the technology or the dev practice or the methodology. Right? We're going to want to learn about the thing that we built to see if it's the thing that we really wanted. James and Michael also came up with this idea of checking. The definition is that checking is the process of making evaluations by applying algorithmic decision rules to specific observations of a product. That's a bit of a mouthful, but I think it's a useful distinction because it seems to me that a lot of what testing used to look like, for example, when I started in the industry, was more this checking activity. Right? It was a test case that had a set of known inputs and a set of known outputs. Right? Do this, this is meant to happen. So really, that was more of an algorithmic sort of decision-making process, right? You do this, the product's meant to do this. Does it do that or not? Right? You're checking one thing against another. So this is a useful tactic, no question about that. But you can only check for what you know to check for. And we don't know everything, right? So what about the unknown things? And it's those areas of unknowns that present much of the risk that's left in your software. I like this little piece from Elizabeth Hendrickson's Explore It book, where she says we check for the known knowns and then we explore for the unknown risks. And that in combination, that's what we think of as testing. So what about automation? I'm not anti-automation. I am anti the way that some people talk about automation and the claims they make about it. If you think about the definition of testing we just looked at, it's a deeply human-centered activity and it can't be automated. So automated testing doesn't make sense as a term. We should refer to maybe automated checks. And manual testing as a term doesn't make much sense. We don't say manual management, manual business analysis, manual teaching. Right? Let's just call it testing. The human does it, let's call it testing. Automated checks are a really valuable thing and they can find certain types of bugs, but those deep, subtle bugs that humans are going to find by exploring and investigating are not going to be uncovered by these rote checks performed by a machine. So we should look to use humans to do what they do best. That's the exploration and investigation, making judgment calls, and then we should use the machines to do what they do best. They're great at repeating stuff and allowing us to extend our human powers. So please don't try to replicate what humans do using automation. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Instead, use automation to do some of the work that you can't practically do using humans. For example, simulating lots and lots of users on a system, or that humans are really bad at. For example, repeating scripted tests. Right, so use the right tool for the right job. My time's up already, so thanks again for the opportunity to briefly share my thoughts. I hope you enjoy the rest of TestFlix. Here's some ways to keep in touch with me or read some of the stuff I'm talking about around testing. I've just published my first book, An Exploration of Testers. And if you want to engage with me more directly on some projects, you can consider engaging my consultant services. So thanks very much and enjoy your event. Cheers.